Hi everyone, I'm Laura Termini, actress, talent, content creator, and for more than 2 decades, I've been dedicated my work to storytelling from television and theater to digital platforms. Hi, I'm so happy to be here because I have one goal: amplify Latina voices and show that our stories matter in every stage of life. Today, I'm thrilled to have a very special guest whose mission aligns perfectly with that vision. She's a global leader, an advocate for inclusion, and the founder of We Are All Human, an organization that it is changing how the world sees Latino leadership. And she's also the driving force behind one of the most influential Latino events of the year, the 2025 We Are All Human Gala. Please welcome Claudia Romo Edelman. Thank you so much,
Eh,
Claudia. It's such a pleasure to have you
gracias.
here
Thank
with me.
you.
Gracias.
Wow, I love being here. Thank you so much for having me. And I love talking about the gala and everything you want that helps elevate our community.
Exactly. I always like to start the conversation with something personal. We both share Mexican roots. My mom is Mexican. I was born in Venezuela, but I've been living in the States for 30 years already. So my roots are very special to me. And for me, that heritage has been a bridge to build community here in the US. So tell me about yourself and what does your Mexican background mean to you in the context of your global career?
Also left my country 30 years ago. I spent the first 20 years in Europe as a diplomat, particularly focused on first the promotion of Mexico in Europe, and then I moved to the global scene working for organizations like the World Economic Forum, UNICEF, the United Nations, and so on, trying to do marketing for social causes, global mobilization campaign. I moved to the US 10 years ago when and that was the first ever time that I heard that I was a Hispanic. I was like, what is this Latino thing? I'm a happy Mexican. What are you talking about? Like,
Actually,
hello? Because people actually think that that's a thing. It's not a thing. Just like in the US, people started using it and we believe it and so on. But I was raised and born a marketer for social causes. I mobilize and people through campaigns, particularly to win the hearts and minds of people towards activating together toward bigger goals. And so that has brought me to where I am today and the founding of the World Human Foundation. My mother and my father, like my entire family is Mexican. My mother and my father met playing basketball. My mother, as you are, later in life decided to become an actress.
oh
And
my
so
God.
she was an incredible actress. And so a lot of, I think that the things that we have in common probably come from having our roots that, despite being 30 years outside of them, connect us to values and connect us to memories that make us who we are and what we do today.
Because you know that we have in our brain sometimes like you have to start from zero, and it's not zero. We have all this background inside of us and all this experience. And when I read your resume, because I always do my research before interviewing people like you, I'm like, oh my God, you've been everywhere. Actually, I was like, you know what? I have to do more because I always do social stuff, but you're in this level that it is so important because people like you are really people like trying to really help people in need and people trying to have a voice. I've built my own platform as an actress, voice talent, content creator, amplifying Latina voices, blah, blah, blah. But from your perspective, how can independent creators like me can join forces with initiatives like yours to create even greater impact?
Massively. I think that, look, for the last 30 years, I've done nothing but try to be a mafalda in the world and try to mobilize for social change. That is my driver. Everybody has different pieces that motivate you, that give you passion. That is, social change is mine. And what I understand is that in the when you have, the larger the ambition you have, the more you need to have a clarity of a plan, You need to understand, like what is the thing that you want, what is the problem, what is the action that you can take to changing, what is the outcome that you want. And people like me are master planners. So I've been able to work for many, many years in identifying what from all the things that we could be doing is the one or two things that if we do them, it's gonna leapfrog to many other things. And I've been working in this space for the Latino community for more than 7 years. And I started with, we're fragmented and we are unaware of our own contributions to the country. Now we are no longer as fragmented. We're by far more unified according to the Hispanic Sentiment Study that we started in 2018 and we've been measuring. So we're by far more united, or at least in the conscious of unification will give us further advantages. And number two, we're no longer as in the dark. We're by far more aware of our own power. And that's when you come in. Because when you are united and aware, it's almost like the lights are on and you realize, oh my God, I thought that I was so small because I was living in a distorted mirror. But now I see my true size. And so Latinos are in a moment that is like unforeseen, which is self-aware and empowered. Now we need people like you, creators, people that have a voice, people that have a platform to go and make sure that we unite forces and with a single message we go and communicate to everyone else that Latinos are positive contributors to the country, that this country is made of stars and Hispanics are one of them. And how do we do it? We do it through data, we do it through storytelling, and we do it through networks. And those are the three things that people like you can dramatically help and make a change so that we can be the last generation of Hispanics that is not fully paid, fully recognized, and fully valued.
You know that you're talking about that, and it really touches my heart because I've been creating content, Claudia, since 2008 by myself. Without being part of corporate America. Just a Latina creator actress who wanted to talk about wellness and lifestyle, and I started doing my videos on my home and editing, and then I started to grow and work with brands and started to grow and grow and grow. But still, after all these years, I feel so alone sometimes. I don't know. It's something that I don't know how can I explain it, because I have like 500,000 followers here, 400,000 here, 100,000 there. So I have like 1.5 million, followers and following. And then I'm like, but I still feel like I'm not part of the big game. Like I want an opportunity that I can jump and be able to be part of the, like the whole group, the America, ser gringa totalmente. I don't know if I explain myself.
No. You're saying exactly what is the experience of so many other people, which is I am doing individual efforts are incredibly important, but exhausting and never will have the same
Impact.
power than the collective effort. So what you have experienced is what all of us have experienced, which is I'm trying to do my piece. But once you move from individual to collective, then change starts generating faster. And not only that, you feel that you're there's a sense of belonging to a group that is going to create a revolution for something that is historic, because we are facing a historic moment for our community.
Exactly.
We have the opportunity to move from invisible to visible, from negative to positive, and from takers to makers. We've never had that opportunity before because we never were so powerful or so ready. And now people like you, with organizations like ours, our job is to create the collective, is to make sure that people like you are equipped with the data, with the assets, with the messaging, and with a group of people in your community, in regions, and at the national level to activate our voices together. So this is really the best question you could ever ask me is, how can you join? And if there's so many of other people, like from your 1 million followers, if there's someone listening that feels a calling from what I'm saying, this is the time to join. This is the time to be part of a bigger thing because it's happening.
It
There's
is.
no time anymore for a solito action. It is the time to go collective and do it with a bunch of people that feel like change makers like you. So join us at the World Human
I will,
Gala.
I will, I will. That's why I'm here with you, because I've done social work since I was a child, since I was 5 years old, working back home in television, doing social works for Latin America, driving sales to help even people who were not socially, I don't know how to say it with the right words in English, but people who are not privileged like us. So, and being part of this Latino community in the United States is so important because you have a following, you have the social media, and then you have organizations like yours. So we are all human, as you say, has become such a powerful platform for Latino visibility. So for those who may not know, what makes this year's gala unique and why this is such an important moment for our community?
We've never been so strong, we've never been so ready, but we've never been so pressured as well. The incredible uncertainty that we're living, the narratives that are at the risk of pulling us back again are existing in a moment. So there's this moment in which all of a sudden the lights are on and we're self-aware and empowered, but at the same time we're scared. So we have to come together. This is the moment to come together. So the gala follows the Hispanic Leadership Summit, which happens at the United Nations, where
Yes.
350 leaders will come, change makers, and get the data, get the messaging framework, and understand how are we going to take the action. What are the channels that we're going to activate? What are the ways in which everyone, whether you're an employee of a company, an entrepreneur, or a creative like you, can activate? If you transport that to a night, this is a statement. The
Yes.
gala is the gathering of the 650 most important leaders, Latinos and non-Latinos, that care to celebrate the Latino community. And we're going to celebrate them at the best, at Cipriani Wall Street, with honorees like Gabriel de Alba, who's the
Mhm.
owner of Cirque du Soleil. People don't
Yes,
know that the owner of Cirque du Soleil is a Latino. And the
exactly.
night will be themed Cirque du Soleil with performances of them. We're going to celebrate Rita Ferro, who's the most powerful advertisement woman in the entire world. She manages global advertisement for Disney. We're gonna have Ellen Ochoa, the astronaut that played flute in the space, and Brett Stevens, who's the probably the most famous and powerful columnist of the New York Times that happened to be Latino too. And so if you start putting this ecosystem with the co-chairs, Nina Garcia, who runs Elle Magazine and Project Runway,
Project
with
Runway.
Raul Rocha, the CEO of Miss Universe, Marisa Solis from the NFL, Mac Schenker, the president of Advertising Week, then you're looking at a universe that will shake up New York, from finance to advertisement to media to like intellectuals, lawyers, and everyone coming to celebrate one thing, which is the contributions of Latinos. So this is a night that you cannot miss, October 30 in New York, Cipriani, Wall Street.
Talking now about women, right? Our community, especially in their 40 plus and 50 plus. Talking about feeling that you're not invisible, even though you're 50 plus. How do you think we can shift that narrative of age and gender within Latino leadership? Because since I've been talking about perimenopause and menopause on my platforms, I talk about that with humor and through comedy. I've seen a lot of comments about this. Laura, I'm 50. I'm 45 years old. I don't feel okay with myself. Of course, there's a lot of things going on in our body, but reinvention is something that I know well as an actress and creator and an independent digipreneur. So, what would it be a message for this for women 50 plus from you, Claudia?
So, first of all, it's so important that you're talking about this. Gracias, Laura, for bringing this up. Because if we keep it in the dark, it's always going to be bigger and a phantom. And, like it's going to become a cultural and social and personal barrier that we're going to keep on transmitting to our daughters and
Yes.
granddaughters. So, it's so important to talk about this. Second, my personal experience taught me that I'll tell you the personal story. My mother was a basketball player. She and my father had three kids. Two of them died, the oldest and the youngest, and they died in the exact same way. So I was the survivor, and
Okay.
everybody always was like, wow, how did they, like, you're so strong, you're probably stronger than death. So I grew up with a sense of possibility. And then I
But
saw my
maybe
mother.
you are an overachiever too, right?
Well, I mean, like, I was 2 years old, so I'm not sure, but you know what
Okay.
I mean. But what I saw was that my mother didn't, like, she moved to becoming an economist, and she had a very serious job. My father and her divorced, so she was a single mother in a boring job, and she decided to take a risk at 45, and
Wow.
she said, like, I want to be an actress. And imagine the world telling her, you're crazy, you're irresponsible, you're too old, you're too everything. And she did it anyways. And it's not that she was fearless, because she was panicking. I remember how hard it was for her to see that she had no food to feed me with. And that the actresses in the theater had to share their piece of bread with me at night every day. And she did it anyway because she was not going to let fear take the decisions of her life. She was not going to be fearless, because you can't be fearless, but she
Of
was going to
course.
be fear free about taking the decisions of her life. And she said, like, I'm going to take a moderated risk, and if I cannot make it in a year, then I'll go back. But within a year, she managed to break through and little by little get roles, and then more roles, and she died as a prima actriz of Mexico with
Yes, I
her
saw her. I
name
saw her because
everywhere.
when I read that she was an actress, I was like, let me, just find. And
Exactly.
I was amazed.
And you know what? So if you take that lesson from my mom, Cecilia
Yes,
Romo, is all of us have to realize that we can't be fearless, but we can be fear-free. And that we can take the decisions of our life, and that we can take risks, moderated risk, and remember that at the end of the day, we're not alone. Every woman is going through this, and that there's an incredible opportunity for Latinas, particularly 40, 50 years
hmm
old, that there's a retro Latinidad, that, like, people are reclaiming their roots. And if you probably didn't have your parents teach you Spanish, because they were like, oh,
even the language, because I
exactly.
remember when I moved to this country, I had to learn English, and I wanted not to have any accent. I remember that I was not able to go even to castings because I was not in my physique. I'm not Latina, but the way I talk and I'm passionate about it. So it's been quite a journey. Talking about journey, Claudia, what has been one of the hardest moments in your journey? Something people might not imagine when they see you on stage on this kind of galas, about yourself.
I have never had a yes immediately. I
Okay.
have always, because I like big challenges. I like the things that I know, that are possible but not easy. So I like thinking that, like, that it is possible to eradicate AIDS, tuberculosis, or malaria. I like working towards, like, a world in which education is available for everyone. I want to believe in a world where, like, we women have access to electricity, or to voting rights, or to, so every time I want to believe that Latinos will be visible. I want to believe that Latinos will be respected, seen, heard, and valued. And so every time I've done something, I face no. And I think that if you're able to understand that nothing comes easy when like, when you have big ambitions, but big goals, if you want. But at the end of the day, you learn that it is possible to transform the no's into yes. Actually, when you start with a mindset of it's possible, at least you're opening more doors. So I think that a couple of the big sets, even starting the World Human Foundation, when I started the World Human Foundation, 6 months in, I ran out of money. I had to close it. I didn't have money to pay the employees. And so I told them, like, I'm sorry, I can't pay you anymore. You have to go.
Yes.
And you know what they told me? How long is it going to take you to be able to raise money again? And I was like, I don't know, 3 months. And they're like, we'll stay. So that level of trust made me actually just, like, go and, like, try to do it as, like, within a month we were back. But Those are the big sets that at the end of the day, when you have the trust of people because they believe what you're doing is possible, when you are able to turn in your head a no to a yes, when you believe in the power of possibilism, I think that's where I find the strength and the respect for others as well.
I believe your story is a reminder that visibility is not a privilege. You know, it's a responsibility for us here in the States. It's not something that we need to beg. It's something that
Absolutely.
we deserve because we're part of this country and we're working very, very hard. So let's remind everybody about the gala, Claudia, to close this interview that I am so thankful. And let's remind everybody about everything that you're doing with the gala.
Visibility is key. We need to make sure that we understand that the reality of Latinos is wonderful, but our perception is not. We have to change our perception. We have to elevate our narrative, and the gala is an incredible opportunity to bring visibility and to elevate Latinos. So join us October 30, Cipriani, Wall Street, New York, and we wait for you open armed so that you can join forces with the change makers, Latinos and non-Latinos from corporate brands and media all together.
Let me buy my ticket.
Exactly. Come to HispanicStar.org to buy your table and your tickets.
Yes, Claudia, thank you so much for this beautiful and inspired conversation. It was very powerful to hear how your work continues to elevate our community, and it's a privilege. And for all of you guys who are watching this interview, if this conversation inspire you, share it with a Latina who's creating also change, and don't miss the 2025 We Are All Human Gala, a celebration of Latino excellence, unity, and visibility. I'm Laura Termini. I'm founder of Chickenol.com and the Sin Pausa movement, a movement for perimenopausal and menopausal women. And Claudia, thank you so much for your time, y espero vernos en persona pronto.
Espero verte pronto y muchas felicidades y muchas gracias por todo lo que haces, Laura.
Gracias por apreciarlo. Thank you so much, de corazón.